Ever wondered why some countries are rich while others remain poor? The answer lies in the fascinating world of economics, a field that studies how individuals, firms, and nations manage resources. Today, we're diving into the core economic principles that shape our world, from the bustling bazaars in Aman to the global financial markets. We'll decode the basics of micro and macroeconomics and how they impact everyday decisions and the broader economy. So, buckle up as we embark on this journey to understand the economic world around us. Economics, in its simplest form, is the study of how societies manage scarce resources. This science of choice is divided into two main branches: microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics focuses on the smallest units of the economy, such as individuals and firms, exploring how they make decisions, allocate resources, and respond to market changes. On the other hand, macroeconomics zooms out to look at the economy as a whole, examining national income growth, unemployment, and inflation, among other factors. It's like comparing a single tree to an entire forest, each providing unique insights, yet interconnected in myriad ways. In both branches, the fundamental problem we grapple with is scarcity. Since resources are limited and our wants are virtually unlimited, we constantly have to make choices on how to use these resources most effectively. In essence, economics is about making choices in the face of scarcity. Every day we make decisions that reflect our choices and illustrate rational behavior. This concept is not only a cornerstone of economics, but it's also a fundamental aspect of our daily lives. Whether it's deciding what to have for breakfast or choosing where to invest our savings, rational behavior guides our choices. Think about it. When we wake up in the morning, we don't randomly select items from our wardrobe. Instead, we consider factors like the weather, our plans for the day, and even our mood. This decision-making process is an example of rational behavior. We're evaluating our options, considering the potential outcomes, and then making a choice that we believe will provide us with the greatest benefit. Now, let's delve a little deeper and apply this concept to a broader context. Consider a business owner deciding whether to expand their operations. They don't make this decision lightly. They will weigh the potential benefits, such as increased revenue and market share, against the potential costs, like higher overhead expenses or increased workload. This balancing act is a clear example of rational behavior. However, it's important to remember that what seems rational to one person may not seem so to another. Our preferences, values, and experiences shape our definition of what is rational. For instance, one person might choose to save their income for a secure future, while another might choose to spend it on experiences and live in the moment. Neither of these choices is inherently irrational. They simply reflect different priorities and perspectives. In economics, rational behavior is assumed to guide the decisions of individuals and firms. It's this assumption that allows economists to predict responses to changes in policy or market conditions. And while it's not always perfect, this assumption provides a useful starting point for understanding and analyzing economic behavior. Thus, our economic choices reveal our rational behavior. It's through these choices that we navigate the complexities of life, making decisions that to us make the most sense. So the next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, remember that you're not just making a choice. you're demonstrating irrational behavior. Scarcity, a universal problem, fuels the concept of opportunity cost. Let's start by dissecting scarcity. Picture this. You're in a desert with only one water bottle. The water is scarce and you have to use it wisely. Now extend this analogy to our everyday lives. We live in a world with finite resources, yet our wants are unlimited. This is the essence of scarcity. Whether it's time, money, or natural resources, we're always dealing with limited availability. Here's where opportunity cost comes in. It's the value of the next best alternative that you give up when you make a decision. Let's say you have 2 hours of free time. You could either watch a movie or read a book. If you choose to watch a movie, the opportunity cost is the enjoyment and knowledge you could have gained from reading the book. So, how does this play out in real-world economic decisions? Consider a business that needs to allocate its budget between marketing and product development. If it decides to invest more in marketing, the opportunity cost is the potential product improvements it could have made with that money. Or imagine you're deciding whether to go to college or start working right after high school. If you choose to go to college, the opportunity cost could be the income you would have earned from working. Opportunity cost is not always about monetary value. It can also be about time, effort, or any other valuable resource. For instance, if you spend your evening watching a movie, the opportunity cost could be a good night's sleep. Here's an important point to remember. Opportunity cost is subjective. It depends on individual preferences and circumstances. What matters to you might not matter to someone else. So, why are scarcity and opportunity cost important? Because they force us to make decisions, often difficult ones. They make us prioritize our wants, given our limited resources. They are the underlying principles that shape our choices, from humdrum daily decisions to important life-altering ones. Remember, every choice has an opportunity cost. When it comes to making decisions, every additional unit matters. This statement essentially captures the essence of marginal decision-making. Marginal decision-making is a critical concept in economics that revolves around the assessment of incremental changes. In other words, it's all about weighing the additional benefits against the additional costs of an action. Let's break this down a little further. The term marginal in economics refers to the effect of a small or marginal change. When we make decisions, we often consider the overall costs and benefits. But in marginal decision-making, we focus on how an additional unit of an action or item will affect the total outcome. Now, why is this so important? Well, this concept helps us make informed decisions that maximize our satisfaction or utility. It allows us to evaluate whether the extra benefit we gain from an additional unit of something is worth the extra cost it incurs. Take, for example, a baker who's deciding whether to bake an additional loaf of bread. The baker would compare the extra revenue they'd earn from selling one more loaf to the extra cost of baking it, like the ingredients, energy, and time. If the extra revenue exceeds the extra costs, then it's worthwhile to bake that additional loaf. Now let's apply this to a broader context. Imagine a city planning to expand its public transport system. The city would weigh the additional benefits, such as reduced traffic and pollution, against the additional costs, like construction and maintenance expenses. If the marginal benefits outweigh the marginal costs, the city might decide to proceed with the expansion. You see, marginal decision-making isn't just a theoretical concept. It's a practical tool that we use often unconsciously in our everyday lives, whether it's deciding how many hours to study, how much coffee to drink, or even how many episodes of our favorite show to binge watch. So, the next time you're making a decision, consider the marginal benefits and costs. It might just lead you to a choice that maximizes your satisfaction. Incentives drive our actions, while efficiency dictates the best use of resources. Incentives are the rewards or penalties that motivate our choices. They can be financial, like a pay raise, or non-financial, like recognition or job satisfaction. In the economic world, incentives are powerful tools that governments, businesses, and individuals use to influence behavior. Whether it's a tax break for green energy use, a sale at your favorite store, or even the prospect of a good grade motivating a student to study, incentives are everywhere, subtly guiding our decisions. Let's consider a real-world example. Jordan, a country confronted with the challenge of water scarcity, introduced water pricing as an incentive for its citizens to conserve water. The higher the water usage, the higher the price, encouraging households to limit their water consumption. This is a clear instance of an incentive at work, steering people towards more sustainable behavior. Now, let's turn to the concept of efficiency. In economics, efficiency is about getting the most value out of available resources. It's about making choices that yield the greatest benefit at the least cost. It's about avoiding waste. In the grand economic ballet, efficiency is the choreographer that ensures every movement, every step, every leap is performed with precision and purpose. Take, for example, Jordan's tourism sector. With its rich historical sites and natural wonders, Jordan strives to use these resources efficiently to maximize tourism revenue. By maintaining these sites, promoting them effectively, and providing quality services, Jordan ensures that these resources yield high economic value, contributing significantly to the national GDP. This is efficiency in action, optimizing the use of resources for maximum benefit. Thus, incentives influence decisions, and efficiency ensures optimal resource use. In the grand scheme of economics, incentives and efficiency are the invisible hands that guide our actions and shape our world. A correlation does not imply causation. A statement you've probably heard, but what does it really mean? Let's take a moment to dive into this concept. In everyday language, when we say two things are correlated, we mean there's a relationship between them. For example, let's imagine that we've noticed a pattern. Whenever ice cream sales rise in a city, so does the number of people who wear sunglasses. This is a correlation. The two variables, ice cream sales and sunglasses usage, move together. However, this correlation doesn't mean that buying ice cream causes people to wear sunglasses, or vice versa. That's where we need to understand causation. Causation is about cause and effect. It means one event actually leads to the occurrence of another. So in our example, the real cause for both might be the increase in temperature. When it's hotter, people are more likely to buy ice cream and wear sunglasses. Now, why is this distinction important, especially in economics? Well, it helps us avoid making faulty conclusions. Let's say we're looking at data from Jordan's tourism sector. We notice that as the number of tourists increases, so does the country's economic growth. It's tempting to conclude that tourism is causing this growth. But we need to be careful. There could be other factors at play. For instance, a stable political climate might be attracting more tourists and simultaneously encouraging business investments, leading to economic growth. In economics, we use statistical tools to tease out these relationships and try to identify true causation. But even with these tools, it's often challenging to establish causation definitively. That's why economists often speak in terms of correlation, while always being cautious about inferring causation. So always remember to look beyond correlations to find the real cause. Understanding the difference between correlation and causation helps us make more informed decisions, whether we're setting economic policies or just deciding whether to bring our sunglasses when we go out for ice cream. Let's tie it all together. We've embarked on quite a journey through the labyrinth of economics, from understanding its fundamental principles to applying them within the context of Jordan. We've started by defining economics as the study of resource management, dividing it into micro and macro economics. We've seen how microeconomics focuses on individual and firm behavior, while macroeconomics looks at the economy on a larger scale. In Jordan, these concepts have been used to analyze everything, from local business decisions to national economic policies. We've also explored the concept of scarcity, a universal issue where wants exceed available resources. Using Jordan's water scarcity as an example, we've looked into how such a problem affects resource allocation in sectors like agriculture and urban planning. Then we delved into the idea of opportunity cost, the value of the next best alternative. We've seen how this concept can apply to everyday decisions, like a Jordanian student choosing between attending a lecture or working part-time. From there, we transitioned into the principle of marginal decision-making, comparing additional benefits to additional costs. We've applied this to a Jordanian farmer's decision on whether to plant an extra hectare of crops. We've also discussed incentives and efficiency. By examining Jordan's reduction in fuel subsidies and tourism sector, we've seen how incentives can influence behavior and how efficiency aims to maximize economic value. As we move forward, we've emphasized the importance of distinguishing between correlation and causation. Using Jordan's tourism numbers and economic growth as an example, we've demonstrated the need for careful analysis in attributing cause and effect. Finally, we've covered the role of economic models and the circular flow model in simplifying complex economic problems. We've also differentiated between positive and normative statements, using examples from Jordan's economic landscape. And there you have it, the fascinating world of economics simplified. Remember, these concepts are not just academic theories, but tools that can help us understand and navigate the world around us more effectively. So, keep an eye out for these principles in your daily life and see economics in action.